Particularly about your findings on the issue of service delivery, what citizens are demanding from their leaders in terms of accountability from their leaders. What were the outstanding issues in your findings? Who is responsible and how can we address them?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Ronald Foirworth. I am the Executive Director of the District NGO Forum. We held several top-hour conversations, meaning we went to the community and we held kind of dialogue, discussion with them on topical issues affecting the community. That is the issue of public affairs in terms of service delivery, what the community come as concerned, in other words, what they want to be addressed, and their aspiration. So we found several issues that are coming out that the leaders, the community want the leaders to work on. This is particularly at this kind of time when people are seeking mandate of the public to go and represent them in policy making fora. There are many outstanding issues. One of them, to start with, the one which came out most actually was WASH, that is water and sanitation. In water and sanitation, many communities are not served. And the worst bit of it is that some are underserved. Others are completely excluded. For example, there are communities in especially urban areas where there is municipal water or this national water and sewerage corporation. We find the water tanks have been installed far away from them, but they are within the municipal areas, like in Nebi and other areas. But the policy of government is that people within urban councils should not have boreholes. But the municipal water, the tap water, leaves them, especially people who live in raised areas. So I don't know whether it was by design that the people, the engineers who designed the water system did not consider these communities. So they are completely left out, and these communities, even rural water, they are not eligible to receive. So they are completely left out, and we are saying government should find a way of either giving exception to the rule so that they are able to get the water facility like boreholes, or they should find a way of taking municipal water to them. But it's impossible because you find the reservoir tanks have been put lower than where they are. So it came out very clearly, and of course in other areas like the issue of water in schools, water in public places like markets, where there is a big challenge where many communities go to look for water in wells or rivers, which is unsafe and a big challenge. But the other issues that communities are struggling with most include roads. Roads, particularly in areas like Greater Nebi, you find this road of Nebi to Goli up to Paida, which is in very bad shape, and it affects business. You know, so many trucks come to Zombo, Paida, particularly to get food supply. But the road is so bad that many vehicles overturn. Even trucks taking merchandise to Congo and also partly these towns collapse and break down along the way. If you go to Nebi police station, you will see bodies and bodies of vehicles broken down because of that poor road. And the communities are crying because the cost of living has become difficult, very hard, because people now resort to using motorcycles, which is expensive. Many times even buses from Paida going to Kampala, they stop on the way if they find trucks are broken. So it's a big concern for community. And other areas include things like electricity. Nebi has a source of, a substation for electricity, this power from Karuma. But many people even across the station there do not have power. When you see the distribution poles in an area, it means the communities are served. But what we currently see is mainly transmission lines. The power has come from Karuma, part of it has been taken to Arua. I don't know when it has reached Arua and other areas. The distribution poles are there because the community gets power when the distribution poles are in number. So that aspect is not being done, so it's like people have power but they have no access to it and they are complaining. Even access also include cost of getting it. A pole goes to between 1.5 to 2 million. Now some people are saying even if government gives people PDM money, 1 million to change their stories, but you need 2 million, that means PDM times 2 to just get power. If you need one pole service, what if you need 2 or 3? So it's impossible for people. So we have a facility which is unused, so it cannot cause transformation, and something needs to be done about it. So other issues include issues of employment, particularly the youth are crying foul. They are saying they want to be heard. They're a big population, and what is there? What is in for them? They see the women are included in public and policy making fora up to 1/3 or 30%. But for them, they want at least even up to 20%. There should be special space for them. And more so if facilities such as training facility, youth skilling centers to be increased. We see the hubs, the skilling hubs that government used to talk about. For the whole region, there's only one in Zombo, for all regions. So they can only pick 20 students per district. That cannot cause much transformation. We need more of such facility at every district, several of them, if possible, at sub-county levels. That's the cry from the youth. Many of them are out of school and they need skills to survive and move forward.
The issue of education featured also prominently where there's congestion, infrastructure, but also health. Who do we hold accountable as these people are rushing back for elections? They still have a year to go. Some of these issues need local government, others need central government, others need the community themselves, especially education and changing certain things.
That's true. There are those who are already in office, they still have a year to go, and the community are speaking. In education, where the community are crying that some of their children, the children go to school, but are they learning? That is the major question. How will learning be possible if there is congestion in class? There are classrooms where 400 pupils are studying together. Actually, one of the teachers was saying, when you reach the door, the smell of children alone wants to keep you out. So that's a big issue. They say the steam which is generated from this house, learning cannot take place. Actually, the teachers spend more time trying to control class than teaching, which is a big challenge. Secondly, in education, we also have challenge of teacher-pupil ratio. There is a lot of disparity that requires attention. Let me give you a simple example. They're saying like if you go to Zombo, they have 92 schools, but they have about 950 teachers. Nebi has 91 schools, but they have around 1,400 teachers. Arua City has around 68 schools, but they have 1,600 teachers. So if you break down the ratio, you find those with bigger number of schools have smaller number of teachers. Those with fewer schools have more. So how does the Ministry of Education work on this? You find these institutions like local government which are being restricted through restriction on recruitment. My staff, the teachers, are half what the others are having. So why are you restricting me? That's our appeal to Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Finance and Education, that they should bring some semblance of equality so that people in rural areas also get something to teach their children. We have schools, like in Zombo, if you go to a school called Mavura, P7 school with 6 teachers. How can they move around and keep the children busy with education? If 1 or 2 are sick or engaged in one way or another, that means the children are there, they are not learning. And yet government has put restriction on recruitment. It's a big contradiction. At the end of the day, when you see schools are performing poorly, sometimes it's because our own leaders are not pushing enough for the factors that are meant to improve learning, teaching and learning. Performance cannot happen if learning is not taking place. And learning cannot take place if teaching is not effective. And teaching cannot be effective if the facilities like classrooms are not adequate. In Zombo alone, they need about 580 classrooms to cover the current need. But government is only able to construct 2 classrooms every year. So, what is the future for the people in such a district? So, this is our appeal to policymakers, people who are seeking offices, to go and talk real issues. They should understand these issues. They should not assume. They should let data, specific information, that policy makers or decision makers, even at national level, can look at and say, hey, there is need for action. Because communities have been excluded in terms of policy. Policies are against them. Like, at least allow them recruit to the level of their colleagues so that the children in these communities can also learn. That is in terms of education, the issues we are seeing. Of course, there are other small issues like issues of school fees. Or the contradiction is people don't know whether people should pay fees. Policymakers, most office of RDCs are saying they don't want to see anybody or people sending children home because of fees. And yet they are saying, according to Education Act, which is endorsed by the President, they have allowed PTAs to charge some fees. So we are advocating for a unified language which can be given to communities. If people are to pay something, let it be told that you make contribution if you want to have quality education. If it is not allowed, then let us also see other government schools like in Kampala and other urban areas not charging. But you see, government are charging heavily in other areas, and then others are saying you don't charge, and they are having a road deal. That's in education. But in health, there are also many issues. Of course, issues of drug stockout has been a major complaint. People go to health facilities, they ask you to come with an exercise book, and they write, and you have to buy the exercise book. Sometimes they write, but then there is no drug. They say you go and buy. That's a big challenge. And 2, there are communities who are being denied. If like you are in a border, you are within a municipality bordering a nearby health facility in a sub-county, they say for you, you go to your town where the facility is. Like people in Petersell in maybe municipality, they are near Jupangira, but they are denied there which is near. And yet in principle of universal health, nobody should be restricted. We are saying, if from Pakwai, Zombo, all the way to Arua, up most part districts in West Nile are bordering Congo, and people from Congo come and get service there. What about within ourselves? And the issue is that Uganda has open border policy, even to do refugee policy. So it allows so many, what for lack of better words, called foreigners to come and access services. So you find the local people, even if they go to the health center, they find nothing. So districts like Nebi, Zombo, Pakwach are not considered refugee hosting district. I think Arua City also. But so many of these refugees leave the camps, come into these communities, and therefore the service which was meant to a smaller population is now shared by these people. I'm not surprised if we get frequent stock out. That means government need to increase the amount of money that are sent to this, particularly considering our vicinity to the borders, international border like Sudan and Congo, but as well the presence of refugees in our communities. Although government doesn't recognize most of them, but the reality is they are there. Many NGOs have tried to register them, like in Arua City. You find the number is alarming. And Arua City, where they found there are over 24,000 refugees. Now that's like a number of a whole parish, which is not accounted for. But they are consuming service in these people's area. That's what government needs to know, that some of their own policies is contributing to poor service delivery because they're not recognizing the intervening variables that have affected the policy from the way it was developed. Some people were complaining, like even this issue of writing. You go to a hospital, they say you go and buy an exercise book. There are many people who may not have anything. Or if a person is sick urgently and you want to rush, I've seen many poor people, they don't even have some money to buy an exercise book, the 500 shillings or something of the sort. But that's not a major issue. Sometime last year, I was shocked when I went to I was called that one of my friends got an accident. There was an accident on maybe Pakwash Road, and they brought about 12 people, and they were just put on the floor like this. Many of them were unconscious. But the nurses could not work on them because there were no exercise book to write their particulars. So the nurses were pleading with the public who are watching, who can help this one so that by donating an exercise book so that we capture their particulars. I said, really? This is Nebi District Hospital is almost a regional facility because people from Nebi Zombo and Congo and elsewhere, they flood there for service. Cases of accident on these big roads, they take there. But there is no system to even capture. Now imagine a victim who is even unconscious and cannot be worked on because there is no paper to capture his particulars. It was very appalling that even within these health facilities, there is a need to find a way for systems to work. And the communities are complaining and they need something better. Of course, the other aspect is the quality of service in terms of personnel. There are very few staff who have studied medicine. Okay, you go to the hospital, you find the staff are too few, and therefore the people are not served. The few, when they are tired, they cannot serve, and the public is complaining. That's a major cry, and we hope that's that government can help address. In the whole of our region, I think there are few institutions for learning, and maybe government should have a specific quota to be giving to local people. It relates to when we're talking about human capital development. Like in Pakwash UCC, we found that Pakwash had only 2 people from Pakwash district. In the whole of Greater Nebi, the 3 districts, there are less than 10. So how can that help us get the certain caliber of staff we need to address issues in local communities like Greater Nebi, which has never had any health facility, training facility? Government should partner, even if possible, with private institutions. Like right now, there is one institution being established. It's called Nebi School of Nebi School of Health Science. They are offering diploma courses, over 10 courses in laboratory, pharmacy, nursing, midwifery. And if the local people can take advantage of that as much as possible, that will be good. It will help address some of these issues of gaps in the health facilities that we have. But still, government will need to remove restriction on recruitment, regardless of where the people are coming from, if the people are to get service. So those are some of the key issues coming out that need to be addressed. Of course, youth inclusion, people with disability are also raising issues. There are peculiar issues of disasters. If you go to Pakwash right now, there are several villages, like almost a whole parish. There's a community called Owere, where if you are to go to school, you need to spend 10,000 shillings a day. Because there are several swamps, water, the flooding has cut off several villages. Even if to go to market, if you are to go to school, if you are to go to any place, even a hospital, you need a boat to cross like several times. And you have to pay from one to another, which has cut them. They are part of the citizens in the country. That's one example. There are other areas that could be affected. Moreover, this is in a town council. If you are crossing the lake, river of River Nile in Pakwach, you just see how much the river has spread to the east. So when it goes down a bit, it has done the same to the communities in the west, cutting nearly a parish or half a parish, over 6 villages. The biggest worry right now is that the hippopotamus are now using those waters and they are crossing path with people who are moving. The crocodiles are also there. So it is a disaster in making if it is not addressed. Where do you relocate? Do we relocate that population? Where do they go? It's not pulling attention, but we cannot wait to see people die before we start speaking about some of those issues. So those are some of the issues we have found on the ground, and it requires addressing.
Okay. Let's look at the issue of the citizens demanding for accountability, especially from their leaders, based on the findings from the NGO forum. Do you agree with these issues? Who can we hold responsible to ensure these issues are, worked on?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I entirely agree with the issues that were raised here. The citizen aspirations. The issue of accountability is key, because you see, the people who pay taxes in this country are the citizens, and they are supposed to get services for the taxes that they pay, and they are the people who have put people who work in government to hold those offices in trust. So the only people who can ask for accountability are the citizens, because first and foremost, they are the taxpayers. I always say government gets money to do its work in 3 ways. One, through taxes. You see the taxes that we pay. If the taxes are not enough, we have to go to borrowing, which money that we borrow will still be paid by the citizens through the taxes that they pay. But also, the most important thing is grants. If we get grants from our friends, the countries that are friendly to Uganda, they are giving that money because they know that there is a population in this country, and they know that there are citizens in this country, and they're giving the money because of the citizens. So any money that government gets, it is the citizens that contribute it, whether it's being taxes, whether it's being through borrowed money, which will still be paid by citizens, and the grants, which are paid because of the citizens. So it's incumbent upon the citizens to always make sure that they get the best services and advocate for it, and also demand for accountability for the monies that are allocated for such services. So I think, to me, it is a good thing. The citizens, for them, to be very practical with you, the people they hold to account are actually their political leaders, because these are the people whom they entrust to work on their behalf. Political leaders now have people who work for them. Those are the technical people. So it is incumbent upon the political leaders now to put pressure on the technocrats to make sure that they deliver on their mandate, and also deliver they implement the aspirations of the district, aspirations of the country, and all other entities that they work for.
Yeah, looking at the main issues raised there, education, water, roads, and health were the priority issues where people mentioned a lot of challenges faced.
Yeah.
Who do we hold accountable so that we do not just always lament, but we have solutions to these challenges, especially poor service delivery?
The poor service delivery is the services, provision of services is the responsibility of the government. And there are people you cannot, as you did say, you cannot just say to everyone. The government in the power is that's what the budget. The budget is the responsibility of the president. The president comes up with the budget, and also at the district level you have the LC5 chairperson who is who owns the budget. And so I think the responsible authorities have to be charged. At district level, I think the district leadership has to take charge. the members of parliament who are also both at the constituency, but they are national leaders who are in charge of appropriation of the budget, have to take charge. But the executive that presents budget proposals, the appropriation bill, I think should take responsibility. In simple terms, the line ministries, the line departments have to be held responsible. For example, if it is in education, the right advocacy through education department. And but this can be possible when all leaders know what they're supposed to do. The biggest problem we now have is if you look at what members of parliament do, you sometimes get disgusted. First and foremost, instead of speaking about these service delivery challenges at the floor of parliament, you find sometimes they go mute. They don't talk about them. So end up providing some of these services directly from their pockets. That's to explain to you why they are feeling it increasingly very expensive to run their constituencies, because now they have resorted to provision of services. They are providing these services themselves, the services that are supposed to be provided by government. Now members of parliament want to provide them. The H5 chairpersons want to provide them. The councillors want to provide them. I think the best is everyone to fulfill their mandate. If you're a member of parliament, your work is to talk about the service delivery challenges in your constituency. So if you are a councillor, that should be the same thing that you should do. If you're LC5 chairperson, you should also be making sure that you monitor what is happening at the district. You give a strategic direction about what is happening in the district so that you achieve whatever you want to achieve.
Okay. If you look at citizens' manifesto vis-a-vis leaders' aspirations, what they want to stand for, many times when it comes to service delivery, there is a mismatch. Leaders tend to do their own things, forgetting what citizens demand, but also politics shifting from the issue of, addressing challenges to money. Some leaders buy off their way and fail to deliver.
That is the same. That is exactly what is happening now. We have got, as of now, we are in electioneering period. We have a lot of money that's going on in our communities to sway voters to vote for leaders who are contesting. It is the leaders spending those money. But again, it compromises the kind of leaders that we get. Now, at the end of the day, that's why I was telling you, even if you have those challenges, nobody's going to address them. People do not want to talk about them because those are not their priorities. Their priority is passion. So I think the best is for the citizens to get the right leaders, but also for the leaders to get on ground to citizens and generally get their needs, so that whatever they do, citizens own them and also work for themselves. So I think that is what I want to say. However, you cannot run away from the issue of money in elections. Money elections is good, but again, excessive is bad. But now you cannot eliminate it unless you deal with the issue of poverty, because whoever is poor is likely not going to focus so much about the quality of leaders, but will be focusing more about what is my immediate need that I need to get. That's why people end up compromising the voters and the citizens.
Okay, lastly, do we have enough civic education as you observe as civil society? Because many of our people lose direction when it comes to electing.
Certainly not. That's why even members of parliament themselves are now crying for civic education, because the cost of running their campaigns is becoming increasingly very high. The demands that citizens are placing on them are quite different from what their constitutional roles are. As a result, it is now very hard for them to work. But you see, you can't. I always telling people, you cannot talk about good governance. You cannot talk about civic rights and responsibilities when you do not address the issue of poverty that people are preoccupied with. So many other issues that people are preoccupied with. So I think that is where we need to start. A country that is not financially, whose citizens are not financially stable, cannot exercise the true democracy that we would want to see in other countries. So unless we deal with that issue, unless people regain their dignity because of poverty, unless people are able to sort out the issue of their health and so forth, then we are going to continue witnessing these things of voter bribery and so forth and so forth.
Okay, just in two seconds of your nominations, are you going back to contest to seek for re-election after serving your people of Zombo?
Yes, I am Oyolo Oruna James, the District Chairperson, Zombo District Local Government. Yes, recently when we received call from our party, that is the National Resistance Movement, that all the party members who intend to contest should pick nomination and also apply and show interest. So as being one of the member of the NRM, as the district chairperson Zombo, yeah, indeed, I showed my interest once again to run for another term. I have been the district chairperson for these last 4 years now, and I left with 1 year to complete my task, but I am doing my service to the people and also being closer to the people and coordinating very well with them for these last 4 years. So the report which is coming out from the Wananchi or from the community members, it is positive that I've tried my best. I delivered some services to them in terms of road infrastructure at the district level, because we have different levels of road infrastructure. We have community road, which is at the LC3 chairperson level, and we have district road at the district level. Then we have national road, that is, we used to call UNRA road. So for the district, yes, I tried my best. I want to thank His Excellency for this 1 billion provided for the district to maintain the roads, which I utilized it 100% maximally, with some culvert bridges which we have put in place. For the last 4 years, Zombo has never constructed any other bridges for the last 10 years. But for these 4 years, we tried in my regime at least 3 district culvert bridges we have managed to construct, and also with the help of a project called Local under UNCDF, we have done something for the climate mitigation. We are very grateful. That is Namthin Bridge and Fada Bridge. We used DDEG and local project money. Then for the district, that is for the 1 billion, we constructed Songoli Ora Bridge. But for that matter, with the trust community they have put in me, as I am still continuing working with them very well, they requested me to add more term, which is 2026, 2031. Not only on road infrastructure, we renovated a number of schools, we constructed some few, and also we lifted and constructed health center, health facilities, and also secondary school, which the work is going on right now.
About health, which specific ones have you upgraded?
We upgraded Otheko Health Center 2 to Health Center 3. We have upgraded Amonyo from Health Center 2 to Health Center 3, and also Atiak Health Center 2 to Health Center 3, apparently, with a very good building. And we added more building to War Health Center 4. And currently, there is ongoing drug store construction, which is going on. And for secondary schools, we have a May Secondary School in Paida Sub-County, which is ongoing. We have Kango Seed Secondary School. It is also ongoing. Next year, we expect students to join Senior 1 from that school. Then there is procurement process for Alangi Seed Secondary School, which is also ongoing. I believe next financial year it will start off and also be constructed.
We have seen politics shift away from the normal government service delivery through the system that you've just mentioned to socio-economic empowerment. People now want to see what have you done to empower the community directly, apart from roads and schools.
Yes, As politicians, our roles are very clear. Monitoring government facilities, oversight on also government programs, not our own, because I don't have any penny or any shillings to go and put to the community. I mobilize community to access government facilities or government programs. So mobilization is part of our activity, political oversight, to see whether what government is implementing in your area, it's being done, and monitoring. So those are the major key issues, and also coordinate government program with the community and central government. So those are the things I always do for my community, and also account for what government has provided to the community members. So the accountability, it is very necessary. I give them all the time, over the radio, baraza, in all other gatherings. I give the true figures provided for my district.
When you look at the current accountability issues raised by the community here, in Zombo particularly, where is your priority that you are seeking another mandate for?
Yes, actually for the last 4 years up to date, I have not done enough. How? In terms of coverage, water coverage, we have done something at least through the help of the partners, that is Fields of Life. They have given us over 50 boreholes, which we have already sunk in a number of sub-counties and villages. Because with the government policy, we are supposed to have water coverage into the villages. Then we are talking of what else? The electricity. Other places are not covered with electricity, but still government, with the help of community demand, they are also saying this will be included, and we need to help those who doesn't have the areas which are not covered to be sealed up with water, electricity, education, and even school facilities, then health facilities. Since we have some other sub-counties which are not covered, like the town council has only health center 2, we need to elevate it to health center 3. By the town council has health center 3, but with that number of people, Congolese also entering there, we have a very big number of people. We need to elevate by the health center 3 to health center 4, and such achievement, it is still pending. If I can lobby and continue to have all those infrastructures in place, I'll be the happiest person. Even education, some sub-counties has no secondary school, but the Zombo Town Council, we have a car, they don't have. So it will be my pride if all those has such infrastructure, then I will be very happy and say yes, I have done my part.